dear friend. I don't know when you'll see this, but for me, it's been a very good morning. The sort of morning that asks you to do something possibly strange, something possibly wonderful. To write, or to sing, or to dance, or to play make-believe for just a day. So, with that, let the song continue. My fondest memories involve stories. I was very young when my abuelo first sang to me. At the time, I didn't understand the words. I didn't have to. What he was really saying was that he loved me. My abuelo passed away when I was still young, but the stories remained and they continued. Years later, my father began reading to us all at night. We'd gather around to receive the latest installment from a whole host of books. It wasn't until I was much older that I realized how much work my dad put into rehearsing his reading. He did voices and everything. My sisters often tell the funniest stories. My mother's I find to be the most endearing and heartfelt. In fact, I've found my friends and chosen family to be the most keen of storytellers. The tales they share become part of me. The stories you share become part of me. And I have loved your stories. Every one of them. Beyond that, I hope I am not alone in saying that I have a voice inside my own mind. It has language, and it tells me stories about myself on a daily basis. As I've grown, so have those stories. Many, thankfully, have become more loving. What used to be, you are not strong enough, turned into, look what you are doing to become stronger. You are a burden, has slowly inched towards you belong, and you are not enough, eventually will give way to the fact that I am not a sum to be measured. You, my friend, are a dancing light that radiates warmth with every step. Of course, in the writing of these letters, I often have particular people in mind. Yet, I have faith that whoever and wherever you are, you dance in that same light. Sometimes it's just been blocked out for a moment.
I try to sing to the night, but she
final kiss of the sun sets our mountains alight.
She is on her own.
A strong flame. It burns deeply and then disappears as quickly as it came.
The stars they lie covered in snow, but always, always I'll be here.
As a vibrant morning gave way to an afternoon, and an afternoon to an evening, the end of this day has brought with it a simple creation. Through experimenting on this channel, I've gotten the chance to share many things with you. Some of them have been these letters. Others have been the music I can show every once in a while. However, besides all of that, I also wanted to do this simple experiment that I'll share with you now. With all this talk of storytelling, I figured I should sit down and tell you a story. Or at least give it my best shot. It's one I wrote, and it's sitting on that desk over there. I have water ready, and I have a burp that is sitting at the top of my chest and threatens to disrupt everything. So, this is a very young story. It's only been around for one day and one night. A newborn flame, flickering away against any sudden motion, it could very well go out. But today, here, now, with you, maybe it'll find a new home. Or maybe I'll just stutter. Okay. Once upon a time, long, long ago, before there were proper roads, before there were proper cities, before the mighty pen outdid the mighty sword. So long ago, in fact, that things had only ever happened once, seldom twice, and 3 times now that was out of the question. In this altogether strange world, there grew a girl. Her eyes were bright, and her voice was soft. She was unique. Everyone knew it, but then again, of course she was. Things had only ever happened once, you see. People would come from lands far and wide just to hear her speak. But it wasn't only her voice they wanted to hear. They came for stories. All of them different, all of them enchanting. Her keen eyes would dance across packed taverns and palaces, surveying her audience and crafting playful tales with happy beginnings, middles, and endings. Princes fell in love, minstrels sang her praises only once, of course, and a single old man, he wept. Water break. Why do you cry, wise one? Said the girl. All of my stories are of love, hope, joy, things that shimmer. Why do you cry for those stories? I cry because they are beautiful. I cry because soon there will be no more joyful stories. This puzzled the girl. Why do you say that? She made her stories new every night. New characters, plots, names, your stories, said the old man. Share the very best of us, our triumph, our care. But there are only so many beautiful and joyful stories to be had. The well of joy is running dry. I have seen it. This shocked the girl. It drove her to silence, a silence that was her first silence, deep and still. But being young, bold, and proud of her weaving of tales, she soon became annoyed with this old man's lack of confidence in her abilities. I will tell you a story, old man, said the girl, that you may not bother me again with your worry and your sadness. The man raised his voice in protestation, but there was nothing to be done. "Once there was a lovely maiden," said the girl. This maiden laughed in the face of fear. She picked mysterious flowers from his meadows. One by one they went into her basket. Step by step she neared Fear's forest. Fear naturally wasn't very fond of lovely young maidens picking up the things that he so preciously guarded. Up and up he grew out of his forest. Up and up he grew, becoming a shadow that blocked the sun. "Give me back my blossoms," he said, "or I will consume you." "I think I rather like them in my basket," said the maiden. And with that she chewed the petals from some of Fear's flowers, lending her voice a sweetness, a strength that Fear could not deny. "Shrink," she requested in a voice of pure velvet, and Fear shrank. "Purr," she said, and Fear purred like a cat, and thus became one, a small kitten, unsteady on its feet. The lovely maiden picked up the kitten, placed it in her basket, and went on her very merry way. That is a happy story, and so shall all others be. Back at the tavern, the old worried man stared, and then smiled. A smile that was his first smile, maybe the only one of his life. He used it then and there. Water break. It's important. For years, the girl told stories. She grew, and so did her tales. But not quite as quickly as you would have hoped. You see, in a world where things had only ever happened once, the old man's words rang painfully true. The girl, now a young woman, slowly started to see her storytelling change. Kings weren't as noble. Loyalty wasn't as loyal as it used to be. And every once in a while, late at night, amidst the burning embers of a dying fire, she would find herself struggling to say, "Happily ever after." Then came the bad stories, the dark ones. She told them. After that came the worst stories. She told them as well. She'd tell them as she cried. Then one day came a story so sad, so deeply rooted inside the pain that she now felt, that it grew. It grew through her breath, taking shape up and up and up it grew, turning into a shadow and a shape and a character that she knew all too well. Fear himself was standing before her. "I was wondering when we'd meet again," growled Fear. The woman tried to ward him away, but her words were slow. Her voice cracked from hours of dark stories. "Show me your pain. Tell me your darkest stories. I wish to feast upon them," said Fear. The woman gasped. She shuddered. She braced herself for what was to come. But then after all of that was done, she grew silent. Silent. She had been silent before, a silence exactly like this one, deep as the ocean floor, serene as a frozen lake. She stared Fear in the eyes. "I will tell you a story," she said. Fear smiled and took a step closer to the woman, but something about her bearing made him uncomfortable. The woman rose. Once there was a lovely maiden." Fear's eyes went wide, but the woman continued. This maiden laughed in the face of Fear. Fear screeched. The woman's voice was glowing now, burning like the embers inside her fire. Every single part of the story felt familiar, yet new. A story that she told herself as a child now gave her strength as she told herself as a woman. "Shrink," she said, and fear shrank. "Purr," she said. And so it was, in this world of only once, a storyteller was born, and a woman sat by a fire with a unsteady kitten. Because the fact is, a story cannot be told the same way twice. And beyond that, some stories that lift you out of the shadows, deserve to be said more than once. The end. We made it through. Kind of. I hope you liked it. Anyways, this week has been a lot of fun to sit down and try something new. I have been writing a lot of stories over on my Instagram, and they are all about two little characters that I'm very fond of called Otter and Owl. If you ever want to check those out, be my guest. And I enjoy this experimentation and might push it a little bit farther. Who knows? We might do more of these in the future, depending on whether you like them. I like them. Sort of. My voice is tired. It's very, very tired. And I'm just babbling. But, anyways, I hope you are well, my friend. Much love. And I will see you next week. Oh, you gotta get your voice together.
Give me your blossoms.
I was wondering when we'd meet again. The end. Goodbye. Tonight, I'd like to tell you a story. It's a newborn story. That being said, we have a fire, we have food, we have drink, and, as you can definitely see, things are starting to get decidedly strange. So without further ado, here is a old but new story that your friend wrote last night.
I try to see into the night, but she is on her own. The stars they lie covered in snow, but always I'll be
And there you are. Come on. What do you guys want?